Hi guys and welcome to Horologique, and today I am really happy because in this envelope should be a vintage Seiko SKX, and it's been a long time since I've been wanting to get my hands on one of these. This is one from 1997, so this is a 25-year-old watch. So what I want to do is I really want to check how it's working. I really want to check how that 7S26 movement is working, and I want to check how the Lume is performing as well. Have you ever wondered how that Lume Bright Lume performs after decades? Well, today we can find out together. And just for comparison, I wanted to compare it with my modern Seiko SKX, just a little bit modern here. This one is from 2017, so right at the end of the production cycle of the Seiko SKX. So we have one at the beginning of the cycle and one at the end of the cycle. So yeah, I got this one from eBay at a great price. I just couldn't resist, so here we go. Let's unbox this baby. And here's the watch. I do not see any signs of age, any immediate signs of age, at least on the dial. Well, if you look closely though, if I take my modern Seiko SKX, you can see that the black of the dial is a little less deep on the vintage version than on the new. You see a very much darker black on the modern. That is pretty good, I think. It shows that the watch has lived. On the indices themselves, I do not see any cooking on the indices like you saw with tritium and all those other materials. But yeah, there we go. Let's see how the clicking performs. First, let's see the clicking on the SKX, on the modern SKX. It's classical, it's pretty good for the price point. It is, yeah, clicky, 120 clicks unidirectional, good, quite light, quite springy, very good for a watch of this price. Let's see if anything has changed with this one. Yeah, I would say that it's a little bit lighter, a little bit less precise, but that can be due to age. The biggest tell of the age of this watch is of course the case. The case has taken a few dings, as you can see of course, and that is absolutely normal, and that does not bother me in the slightest. Quite the contrary, I quite like beaten old watches like this one. This is 25 years old after all. It shows that it has been used as a tool watch, and that is wonderful. When the seller sold it, before they sold it to me, they changed the crystal because it was pretty badly scratched. Now he has changed for a new one, and that is very good. I'm very happy with it. The Jubilee, the jingly jangly Jubilee, makes a lot of noise. On the modern iteration we have the bilingual date with Spanish and English, and here we have the Roman numbers, and let me see what else we have. Right, the movement is pretty good. English and numbers. Alright, it's pretty good. The threading, how's the threading of the crown? Oh, looks pretty good. Is the crown the same size? Yeah, the crown appears to be the same size. Yeah, anyway, these watches are pretty much identical, as you can see. Everything is exactly the same, but for the stories they have to tell. Now, what if we check the precision of this movement after so many years? Is it still somehow precise? That 7S26 movement has been known never to be really precise. Let's see how this one is faring. Let's start with the modern SKX. So as you can see, this was never a really precise movement, and you can see it here. Plus 10, plus 12, with a pretty high bit error. Well, it's not too bad, but it's not amongst the best Japan has to offer. Yeah, the vintage version performing even worse. Yeah, I'd rather have a watch gaining a lot of time than a watch losing a lot of time. And this one is losing, well, between 16, 14 seconds with a pretty low amplitude, a pretty high bit error. Yeah, this watch, I believe, would need a service at some point. Maybe not immediately, but at some point pretty soon it would need a service. Alright, it might not be entirely visible on the video, but the vintage version on the left is less luminous than the modern version on the right, and that is totally understandable. I suppose that the Lume Bright has become better and better during the 25-year span that separates these watches, and there's also the decay that those decades have done to the original Lume Bright of the vintage version here. So, and even so, it is not a bad result for the vintage model. I always wondered how vintage Lume Bright would turn out. So, am I happy that I bought this vintage beauty? Well, if I call it beauty, it's because I am really happy. I've always dreamt of having a vintage Seiko SKX, and now that dream has become true, and at a quite modest price for the going rate of this watch. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. The movement is not performing very well. The luminescence is not as good as the modern version. You know what? That doesn't matter. This is an original Seiko SKX. It is beautiful. It is all banged up as a vintage tool watch should be, and I am really happy that I got it. Now, why not check other videos on Seiko watches that I have done by clicking on the videos right here, and of course don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you again for having watched, and see you very soon. Goodbye.